thank everybody for tuning in. This is an APJ Foundation production. My name is Greg L. Gould Jr. Most of you know me as Buddy Gould. I'm here with Abdullah Jamison and some of the inner city youth from here in York, Pennsylvania. Before I go further, I'd like for each person to give their name, starting here.
I'm Murray. I'm from York, PA.
My name is Jojo from York, PA.
My name is Jihad. I'm from York City.
I'm Abdullah Jamison, founder of the APJ Foundation. Our main mission and goal is to uplift the youth and guide them into a better direction as far as mental health, physical health, and economics, to teach them trades, learning skills, learning how to cope. So this is our main part of what the foundation is all about, and we created this podcast to give the voice of the YC youth, to give them a platform on what are they going through, their goals and their objectives and what they want to do and what they want to accomplish. And we let them have a platform and giving them a voice. And this is what this podcast is about.
We plan to produce a number of these podcasts. Our goal and objective is to go back to the basics. We plan to actually get rid of inner city violence. That's our goal and objective. People always say things like that, but they don't have a systematic plan. We sat down and produced a systematic plan on how to change reality as you know it. The first thing we want to do is get a grasp on what is actually needed inside of our communities. One thing we know that mathematically will change the mind frames of the youth inside of the cities is for us to produce a better future for self and kind. So this is one of the topics that we want to touch on today. We want to start off with our PTSD, and then we want to go from PTSD to building a better future for self and kind. Our main goal and objective is to get rid of inner city violence. Our second goal and objective is to mathematically bring about a better future for self and kind. In order for us to do that, we have to understand the language of the youth. So we brought the youth in to get a picture or view of their concepts and their precepts. When I had a shop, and I happened to be in my shop, and this little brother Jihad came into my shop, and he had his own clothing line, and I was like, what does this PTSD mean, right? Do you actually know what the PTSD mean? And he was like, yeah, brother, I've been through it. So it was like, this was the first thing that actually got me levitating towards these young brothers, because I'm thinking in my mind, how could these kids, how could these young brothers actually know what PTSD is? So I want to first, before we go into anything else, I want to first give the young brothers a chance to explain to the audience what your clothing line means, what the post-traumatic stress or what the PTSD actually means. Yeah, that was you.
Alright, so PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, that means how I come with it is people that see different. How I came up with it.
Yeah.
It's like how I came up with it was, I don't know, like in the city, all the youth, like majority of us, we all go through PTSD from either losing a friend, knowing a family relative that shot, killed, anything, bro. So that's how I really came up with it. I know like a lot of people, youth and even older people will connect to it. Yeah.
So your PTSD is people that see things different, right?
Yeah, people that
That's your model for your brand clothing line. People that see things different.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
But you also interpret it as post-traumatic stress disorder because you said the things that you guys been through inside the city.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The reason why that was important to me, right, is because like you have all these guys that go to war all over the world, right, and they make such a great big deal about post-traumatic stress disorder. So when they come back home, they allocate billions and trillions of dollars to helping these soldiers who suffer from post-traumatic stress, meaning that they're saying that a traumatic, stressful event took place in these men's lives. And this traumatic, stressful event, right, is causing them to have some forms of relapse. So they'll spend billions and trillions of dollars on treating people for post-traumatic stress. The same type of post-traumatic stress that we go through in the streets every day with no support. Meaning that they could just see their friend get shot over there. And they said, man, that was traumatic and it was a stressful event. They were scared. And since they seen their friend shot and they knew it could happen to them and it was somebody who they liked, since they seen that, that would automatically cause them to have some form of post-traumatic stress. Man, I remember, I say in the early 80s, or in the late 80s, I had a friend. Now, I'm from Parkway, and we used to go to war against the boys from Southside all the time. But they had a guy on Southside named Lemin Goodman. This guy was my friend. Even though we were from two different parts of the city, we constantly went against each other, right? On the down low, me and this guy, we was friends. You see what I'm saying? So one day he got a call about a situation with his girlfriend, and we had to be together. And we ran up there to go see about the situation with his girlfriend. And the dude, it was with a dude from out of town somewhere. So the dude is from out of town, he's from Pottstown somewhere. He pulls out a gun and shoots Lemin. Kills him. Most people don't even think about Lemin Goodman no more, but it's burned in my head. I was there. They killed Lemin Goodman right on the spot. So I watched Lemin Goodman die on Maple Street, in the alleyway right off of Maple Street. I watched this brother die, and that was my friend. This was traumatic to me. Now, nobody never treated me for it. Nobody never asked me what did I go through or how I feel. So I just dealt with it the best way I knew how to do it. So anybody who know me, I began to terrorize anybody who's from out of town from that point on. This started my life of crime. Meaning that in all actuality, if you was not from York, Pennsylvania, from that point on, I mangled you. Anywhere I found you, I mangled you. And this started my life of going down this path. The point I'm trying to get across that back then, and I'm saying that's not what's responsible for all my choices. I made my own choices throughout life. I got older, I got more intelligent, and I just made bad choices. I spent most of my adult life in the penitentiary. But those little small things like that take place in our lives, these things are traumatic to us. And they cause reaction. For every action, there's always a counter reaction. And this reaction, right, caused me to start taking certain steps in my life. And it's happened the same thing to you guys. You see things and things happen to you guys, right? And it causes you to react. Not just you, the guys from the other side of the city, or the guys from all over the town, no matter where they're from. Every action that you make is always a reaction. And when you're in the city and you're constantly dealing with violence, in actuality, it's post-traumatic stress. It's a result of post-traumatic stress. So when I seen your gear, I was like, oh man, this is devastating. You see what I'm saying? That some young brothers can even view or have this concept, right, to mathematically perpetuate it and push it. So I really wanted to join and get in for those aspects. A lot of the times, a lot of the problems that we be having, it comes from us being in poverty and want. When you don't have the basic economics of the food and the things that you need, right, in all actuality, this is stressful and it's traumatic to you. If you got to go to school without proper clothes, or if you don't have the proper food to eat and you ain't getting the proper protection from your family or your loved members, these are stressful situations, traumatic. Somebody ain't got to get shot for us to have post-traumatic stress. Post-traumatic stress can come from any kind of stressful environment that you have to go into and you have to face, and you don't have the courage to face at that time because you haven't had the proper teaching and training. So the point I'm trying to get across, that post-traumatic stress covers everything. But know what the remedy to post-traumatic stress is? Building a better future for self and kind. Meaning that in all actuality, these talks that we have right here, right now, these environments that we have, these events that we have right here, right now, is the beginning of us producing new ideals. We trying to produce some new ideals so we can produce a new way of doing things, so we can produce a new reality. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that is by us coming together, having these podcasts, not only having them here, but actually going back out into the streets. Back in the days, they used to go out in the corners, and they would teach on the corners, right? We got to actually pour some form of light. I'm so glad that Brother Abdul has brought me in on this project, right? That and given me a chance to help. But I think that we have to go back to the basics. But in order for us to get back to the basics, we got to know what you guys want. It's a whole new generation. I spent most of my life in the penitentiary, right? You guys come through, you don't even know me, and I really don't know you. I don't understand what you actually want and what you actually need and desire. But I do know that you do need a better future. I do know that you want money, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life. And I think that if we produce these things and start making the sisters out there, no matter what side of the town they come from, if we start making them sisters believe that in order for them to protect their husbands, and in order for them to protect their homes, and their cars, and their families, that they got to prevent the men from going out and going to war over them, and going to war over stupid stuff. I believe that when we start these patterns, start these new ideals, right, and we begin to implement them, produce things for the sisters, right, I think that we may have something going here. After you want to add anything?
I mean, you elaborated very well with it. One of the things that is the main part of this podcast is hearing from you. We need to know what you are going through, what you're dealing with. But just, you know what I mean, like, you know, the same way, you know, let them know, you know, you somebody. So yeah.
I think it's like, so like a lot of PTSD and like a lot of stuff comes from like the mindset and the guidance in the house. It's like the generation now, a lot of moms raising their sons, where it's like their father's not in the picture, so they don't got that tough love for that men guiding them to be the men that they're gonna be. They got mom with the emotional system trying to raise them like grown men. You can't, like right now, it's like you can't do that because it's like the way we grew up, it was like if you're a man, you ain't supposed to show no emotions at all. Like whatever you do, you're not supposed to show no emotions. So you do show emotions, you're showing the weak side of them. So it's like when you show the weak side of them, people will play with you, people will think you're not as strong as you is when you don't show the weak side. So it's like that's how I look at it. Like how you grow up, and it's like the household you raised in.
Plays a big part.
Yeah, it plays a big part. Even the mindset. Like if nobody older than you won't have a mindset to lead or because like in this world everybody following each other. So it's like if they see you doing good, somebody gonna try to follow you. Nobody not gonna try to add on to your good and try to
help.
Yeah, try to help you. They're gonna just try to follow what you got going on. So it's like everybody will put the follow the leader. But it's like sometimes you gotta come with your own mindset and just do your own thing.
Or work together.
Yeah.
And that's what we're working with right now. They wanted to, what you want to elaborate on that?
No, in Australia, I understand what he's saying.
Because like I think like this, even like this, you growing up, if you would have had a good father figure in your life, or somebody that's really on your ass 24/7, you wouldn't be going to jail or none of that, or you wouldn't even be in the street. You'd be in books and like how you said, you would be in boxing and how you was.
See, that's a bad analogy because I had a real good father.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, I tell my father was the greatest in the world. He's still there now. I mean, like in actuality, I live with my father. That's my right hand man, right? But you're 100% right. The thing is that you guys are being forced or you guys are being propelled into these situations because of the environment or the lack of strong men in your environment, and it produces these forms of slips and weaknesses, right?
Even now, when we grow up, it ain't nobody like in our household. It ain't nobody that's showing us the way or really got generational wealth. There ain't nobody that we ain't gonna be in stuff like that. We gotta grow up and really gotta go out and go get it 24/7. Every day you gotta do something to go get it. There ain't nothing getting handed to us, nothing getting let down to us, none of it. Because at the end of the day, y'all look at us like we men. But how I look at this stuff is like it should really come from generation. You feel what I'm saying?
Teaching.
Even the white people. Like the white people, I swear to God, I go to white people. I go to Central. Man, the stuff I'm struggling with on a daily basis. I go to his house.
He don't struggle.
Man, he don't have not one struggle. What's the struggle? What? Want to mow the grass? That's the struggle. Like you feel what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
What you gonna do? Mow the grass for the day or what? You got a whole setup in your house. You got the game. You got everything set up in your house.
Both parents.
You got a car at 16. You feel what I'm saying? We ain't never get a car at 16. Like that's hard. Like you get a car at 16. That's hard. Like you gotta still provide for the older people that's above us. Like you gotta
help your mom out.
You gotta help everybody. This ain't even your mom. Like you gotta help the whole household out. Like nigga, like you probably got people in jail doing real time. Like you got to really send money to that man every week almost. You feel what I'm saying? Just because he in jail, he missed out on his life. But it's just like you gotta have a mindset to really take care of like everybody around you, because it's like you're not coming from generational wealth.
Right.
But that's a real good,
Analysis.
yeah, good teaching, right? Because it's actually a teaching. I want to touch a few things, right? But I want to say that what we're doing here right now is a blessing, because we identifying our specific problems, right? And in identifying our specific problems, we can begin to bring about the actual changes that we need. It's easy to find fault, right? It's easy to see the problems, to see what's wrong. It's harder to fix it. And this is what we're doing here today. When we was growing up, when me and Abdul was growing up, things was completely different. Meaning that we actually was kids before the crack war, the war on drugs. They say it wasn't a real war. When you call it a war on drugs and say it was a crack war, they'll laugh at it and say it's not. That's just talk. But in actuality, the government put trillions of dollars into this war. They declared it on TV. This is a war against drugs. It was a war against the inner city. And they put not millions, not billions, but trillions of dollars they invested into this war on the inner cities, and created the laws that put all your fathers, uncles, and brothers and grandfathers inside the jail and took them out of your life. So this was an actual war on the inner city youth. But that's neither here nor there. It's easy to find fault, but it's harder to fix it. In all actuality, the problem that you have right now, it's my fault. It's Abdullah's fault. The problem that you're having right now. And we're trying to correct that problem now by making sure you don't pass it down to the next generation. Meaning that the next generation, we don't want the next generation to sit in your spot saying, we had no father. We had no generational wealth. We didn't have these specific things. See, we had men in the house, but the men came from a slave mentality. They didn't know that they was passing this down to us. Many of us, right, had fathers, right, who that couldn't see the turmoil of what was coming about, or what was coming towards us, right? So they just let us walk into it. We walked into it, and they kept saying we was crazy. What you boys doing? But they didn't see the reality that we was living in, because it was a different reality from what they had. Just like the reality that you live in now is a different reality from what I had. So we take the time now to try to understand your reality. Once we can understand your reality, then we can take the steps that need to be taken to change that reality. Because we don't want you to have to hold a podcast 20 years from now and the kids be complaining about the generational wealth. This is where we have to make that specific change at. Right here and right now. I see you trying to get in there. No. Okay, this is what we have to do right here and right now. This is our specific goal and objective. See, the thing is that it's easy to talk, but it's harder to walk. It's harder to actually live it out. So the first thing we have to do is start through these meetings and produce new ideals. And the one thing that you said, right, you said that you have to go out and you have to get it. We want to change that.
Right.
We want to, let me finish here. When I say that, I mean that we want to say we have to go out. We have to get it. Meaning that in all actuality, right, they teach, when we try to unify, right, they call it, what they call it? RICO Act. They make it illegal when we organize and we try to come together, right? But in all actuality, everything they do is unity. They got the United Nations, the European Union, the United States of America. All they do is preach unity. But they indoctrinating to us individualism. Now, I don't like this guy because he's from the South Side, and this guy don't like me because I'm from Parkway, and this guy don't like this guy because he's from West End. Next thing you know, right, we divided and we conquered. But I tell you what, when they call the police, they don't care what side you're from. They all swarm down on you. The East Regional, the Susquehanna, the New York City, I don't care where they just come flying down on you. You know why? Because they're unified under one common cause and one common goal. We're not. So what we need to unify on is building a better future for self and kind. We need to unify on building businesses, right? Building economics, and we got to go and get the sisters from the South Side and the Parkway and the Western and take the sisters and make them get a company together. Build some kind of corporation or organization for them together. They're going to make sure y'all ain't killing each other because it's going to take away their whole livelihood. We have to come up with new ideals. We have to produce new ideals to stop or bring some kind of unity. This is the whole thing of the foundation. We want to actually bring about new ideals to change the reality that we're living in because we don't want to keep doing the same thing. You was going to say something, I want to cut you off because it's actually your podcast.
I see exactly what you're saying, but it's like, to change people's mindset, it's like, I ain't gonna lie, like, in this world today, and this generation today, the only people that's gonna really change somebody's mindset is social media. Like, social media plays a big part on a lot of people's mindsets, how they go about it, how they think. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might say, somebody might say a video on Instagram, and that's 100% facts. But if you don't go do it yourself, you don't know. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want to change people's mindsets, it's like, it all comes from like, you gotta have some.
Can I ask you a question once? If I give you $100,000, would that change your mindset? If I just gave you $100,000 right now and told you to go over to the South Side, right, and get with Bilbo Baggins in there and do that store over there, would that change your mindset? If I gave you $100,000?
Would that change my mindset?
Yeah.
Would that change your mindset?
Would that
What
change your
change your
mindset?
mindset?
A business I do is always gonna change my mindset.
Stop me. And I'm telling you, right, that the root of all evil, the root in all evil is the lack of sustenance. When I say sustenance, I mean the ability to sustain yourself. Meaning that dudes go out and find trouble because they don't have the ability to sustain themselves. They look for stuff because they don't have the ability to sustain themselves. They're on social media because they don't have the ability to sustain themselves. The enemy makes social media to distract us. The most devious thing to us, right, is distractions. We easily get distraction and we easily say we can't because it's real hard for us to work. You see what I'm saying? Meaning that we got to actually change reality. We have to do it. If we don't do it, I'm telling you that you, right there, your great-great-grandson's gonna be saying, man, my great-great-grandfather didn't change this generation, and I'm stuck here. I'm asking you, what we're doing now is asking you, the public, to suffer, to suck it up. To suck it up. So not for me, not for you, but for future generations. You got to do the work for future generations. Because I didn't do it. Because I failed you. I was running around like a nigga in the streets doing some other stuff. So in all actuality, it's my fault. I was in the penitentiary locked up. Another man was holding me against my will in the penitentiary for years. Because I miscalculated. I thought that I could do stuff that I couldn't, and I thought that I was stuff that I wasn't. So I'm telling you, don't be singing the same story.
That change.
One of the things that, and I always say this, it's not just you, it's not just the youth, it's not just, it's adults as well. And they like, you know, parents, people my age, older generations. I have a business. My father, my brothers, we all come from a line of business, family members that built corporations, CA, things like that. One of the things I always say to people, and we talk about finance, money, and he said, he'll give you $100,000. What would you do with that $100,000? And 9 times out of 10, I always say, money won't solve your problem. It's your lack of education with the money to know what to do with it. And that's a problem. People that built this country, the United States was an idea. And they built institutions, the banking, from the credit system to industrial, all these things that created, just like the iPhone was an idea, you know, this bottle of water, building this plastic was an idea. So someone is constantly making money off of ideas, and they're passing down wealth. I got the Sloop cereal. That's Master P cereal, and I put it there because it's a reason. Because he understands economics. He understands having your own product and your own brand, just like your clothing line. But he also understands that money is only a tool. Money is not real. And most of the youth, and not even parents and older people, they think money is real. So what's happening is that we're putting our money in places and doing things, traveling. Yeah, everything. Rich dad, poor dad. Instead of assets, we're not educating ourselves. We're not understanding. So this is the thing that with this foundation, one of the parts that we're focusing on is develop brilliant minds. Because if you can create the next reusable battery that's going to be able to take a car from your PA all the way to California without having to charge, imagine how much wealth you can build for yourself and for your family.
And those are like minds.
Think about it. But our schools and our institutions aren't, especially in the city, it's a problem is that we're not exposing you guys to what's the real things in life that are important. All we worry about is hooping and sports and dancing and stuff that, it's all great, but that's a small percentage of the people that's going to go to the NBA, NFL. But even still, you look at some of the brilliant basketball players and football players, what are they doing afterwards? They're gaining more wealth outside of the league than in the league because they're taking their money and they're valuing their time and they're surrounding themselves around people, like-minded people, business people. And this is what we have to do. And we have to stop making excuses because we live in a country of abundance. We have so much, the opportunities there is, but we have to change the mindset. We have to stop killing each other. The violence has to stop. I mean, I lost my son to the streets. My first reaction wasn't to go out and go murder the kid that killed my son. My reaction is, what can I do? And it's painful. It's not that it's not painful. I cry about my son every day. It's very, very painful for me. But this foundation, what I started, was to help you, not just Parkway, South Side, East End, West End. I don't give a damn where you're from. You my people. But if I could change their mindset, that's what all matters to me. And right, but we have to start, and that's what he was saying. Go ahead.
I think that was eloquently put. I appreciate your view.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, if your view is guidance. You're trying to guide to a better, for people to have a better life.
Right.
And so, if you're trying to guide for people to have a better life, the only thing you need is people with the same mindset as you.
Right, because what do you say? When you say social media, this podcast is to do what? To touch lives, right? To change the narrative. You see, what do you think we're doing now? That's what he's saying. Because mind you, we could be out doing we could be out smoking weed, doing all types of unnecessary nonsense. But what are we doing? This is what counts now. This is the start of the beginning. Most people, and just like the younger generation, even older generation, we live in a microwavable society. We want it fast. Don't look at the fact that we ain't where we going to be, but have the vision to understand that we're going to get there. By all means necessary, we'll get there. But only way we get there is together.
Good teacher.
I cannot get there by myself. You guys come here because you believe in me, you believe in your papa. I believe in you guys, and this is what I'm going to do. So he's talking economics. So the same way they put that $1 trillion in the hands of separating the inner city black man and taking them from. We want the same money to help build our inner city.
Good teaching.
And that's what we fight for
Good
right
teaching.
now.
Good teaching.
Because if we can build good schools and because it's not just going to help black communities, we're going to spend our money everywhere. Because that's what we do any daggone way.
And we're gonna refuse to take less.
So we have to build the institutions, and we have to start now with this foundation. And then it's just like cancer. The same way you got something that can spread that's bad, something good that can spread. Just like what Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all these great men that came before us. They didn't have the money or wealth, but they had an idea to see something better, and they fought for something better. And this is what we have to fight for. One of the things and I read a lot, is a book I want to eventually get into later on, called John Hope Bryant. The fight ain't in the streets, it's in the suites.
All right, in closing out, right, we want to say to the audience, no matter what you guys do, we doing it. It's APJ and we on our way. It's only a matter of time, but it's better with group operation. And we're gonna go back to the basics. We're gonna get back to the streets. We want to be like the little brothers who started their own companies and businesses. Before we go, do you want to give a small little plug for your specific company?
You can get my merch at PTSDapparel.store. I'm also on Instagram as PTSD Apparel.
Say it one more time clean. I'll edit it. Yeah.
But
Alright.
Yeah.
You can get my merch on Instagram at PTSD Apparel. We're online PTSDapparel.store.
So we want to start patronizing our own people in business. Not only do we want to patronize our own people in business, we want to start producing our own businesses. So even if nobody else don't help us or help us bring about what we want to bring about, we're going to produce the funds ourselves, and we're going to go find you in the streets, and we're going to help you and patronize you so you can start your own businesses. The best way for us to end violence is to produce a better future. And this is what we actually trying to do here, is produce a better future. With that being said, do anybody else have anything they may want to get out or they may want to express?
do JoJo.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Okay. I mean, that's okay.
Sooner or later you will, right?
Yeah.
Because we need to know what you got to say too. Because we got to actually find out how we can. The only way we're going to better be able to fix our problems right is to understand how the youth feel and what the youth want done. And by people not listening to us when we was younger, we begin to make it up as we went. And by us making it up as we went, we ended up where we was at. You can't keep doing what you always did and expect to get something different. When you do what you always did, you get what you always got. If we don't make the needed changes right now, then we won't have no generational wealth in the future. So our goal and objective here at APJ Foundation is to bring about the effective change. We want to actually have an effect. We don't want to just talk about ending violence. We're going to end violence. We don't want to talk about going back to the streets. We're going back to the streets. We don't want to talk about producing and bringing about a better future. We bring it about. We hope you help us, but if you don't help us, we're going to do it anyway. So we said we want to produce a better future for self and kind. The kind means that anybody else who wants to do better, who wants to have better, we're here for you. We're here with you. We're going to produce these podcasts, and we praying the best for yourself. We praying the best for us, and we send our love out to your family and to your friends, to all in the city, be you black, brown, yellow, red, or white. We with you. We trying to produce a better future. So keep checking in, keep listening, and until then, we out.